Today is the first lecture of Indian polity, that is democratic politics. Now, Indian polity is the most important part, in fact, one of the most important part, and usually we start with economy and polity. The reason why we start with economy and polity is because they have the most wider coverage in terms of syllabus, and they help more. I mean, the kind of help they provide you in the entire holistic preparation of UPSC, that is immense. So let's understand. So this is class 9th NCERT, a very basic book, but I would suggest each one of you to read this book properly. Especially, a lot of students might feel that, okay, this book is very basic and hence, what to read. But believe me, in this book, it'll give you insight to things you already know, especially with a lot of examples, and the language is very lucid and simple. So NCERT class 9, 10th, 11th is very important for base making, and it will also help you in answering questions in the prelims questions in the past few years, because the nature of examination has been very philosophical. The questions are coming philosophical. That means you have to read between the lines. So I remember a decade ago, there were a lot of factual questions. Now that factual questions are there, but that number is coming down on a regular basis, and we are moving to philosophical questions, questions which are implied in nature. For example, they might ask you about meaning of democracy. Now, meaning of democracy में वो चार statement दे देंगे आपको. You might feel that you know meaning of democracy, but the statement will be so close and confusing that you might feel, array, the statements are so close, and which option is the best option or better option? So and students make mistake here. They make very common basic mistakes here. So students who have read NCERTs properly, and I'm reading NCERT does not mean just reading one go and leave it aside. Reading NCERT means you read the NCERT properly, you attempt questions on that, you write mains answers, you make pointers of those NCERTs. That is how it has to be seen. So democratic politics, lecture 1, that is class 9th NCERT. There are total 5 chapters hai isme. The first is what is democracy. What is democracy? We all know we live in a democracy. हमें democracy के बारे में काफी कुछ पता है, सुना भी है. But question here, they have given a lot of examples how the idea of democracy has come. उसका meaning क्या है, उसका evolution कैसे हुआ, what is the purpose of democracy, why we are discussing democracy at the first place. So it is about what and why of democracy. Okay, what is democracy and why do we need democracy at first place? हमें democracy की जरूरत क्यों है? क्या उसके अलावा कोई और ऑल्टरनेटिव सिस्टम है? क्या सिस्टम फेल्ड है? क्या सिस्टम में कुछ गैप्स हैं? इफ देयर आर गैप्स, व्हाट शुड वी डू? व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ग्रीवेंस मैकेनिज्म हमारे एज अ ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन हमारे पास है? पेपर 2 चैप्टर 2 इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डिजाइन, जो कि मेकिंग ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जरूरत क्यों पड़ती है. दे विल डिस्कस दैट पार्ट. Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5. This I'll be covering in the tomorrow's lecture. So today 2 lectures, that is Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I'll be covering. Now let's understand, since the first polity lecture, to first understand the syllabi of prelims. Now syllabus जो prelims का है, that is very basic and very straightforward. And if you read the syllabus of prelims, you'll find that they have mentioned in a very brief manner. और बहुत minor details syllabus में आपको नहीं मिलता है. You get cut to cut point. Okay. So if I have to see about Indian polity, specifically there are 2 lines mentioned. One is Indian polity and governance. So Indian polity and governance, that is Bharatiya Sashan or Raj Vyavastha. Here they expect you to understand the India's constitution. They expect you to understand the political system, constitution, uska evolution, the changes, the entire thing. So constitution in depth, here we're talking about the political system, the Panchayati Raj, which is also part of constitution, which came later on. Public policy, जो laws बनते हैं, जो policies बनती हैं, rights के जो issues हैं. So this is the syllabus which are mentioned in the prelims part for polity. तो हम इसको polity and governance भी कह सकते हैं. Polity and governance, polity and governance. Governance is the quality of work done by the government. So आप polity में the focus of the polity will be mainly the static part, जहाँ हमारा constitution पे हम focus करेंगे. And apart from the constitution, anything which is happening related to constitution, okay, for example, कोई नया रूल आ रहे हैं या नए अमेंडमेंट्स हो रहे हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, या न्यू थिंग्स आर कमिंग. एंड ऑफ कोर्स द गवर्नेंस का मतलब होता है द एक्शन पार्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अक्रॉस दिस टर्म कॉल्ड गुड गवर्नेंस, और आपने हिंदी में इसका नाम सुना होगा सुशासन. सो गवर्नेंस इज शासन. ओके, सो गुड गवर्नेंस इज maybe one of the agenda of the current government, अगर आपने ध्यान दिया हो कभी. So they say that मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट मैक्सिमम गवर्नमेंट. ओके, तो लास्ट टाइम बीजेपी का मंत्र था मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट एंड मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस. ओके, सो सिलेबस में अगर हम देखेंगे तो गवर्नेंस पार्ट, ना गवर्नेंस इज ए क्वाइट अप्लाइड पार्ट, एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड रहता है, कुछ नया हो रहा है. द चांसेस ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कमिंग फ्रॉम द गवर्नेंस पार्ट जो होता है वो मेनली गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स में या कुछ नए अमेंडमेंट्स या लॉज आ रहे हैं उससे रिलेटेड होगा. बट यू वुड एक्सपेक्ट लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन गवर्नेंस इन पेपर, इन द मेंस पेपर. प्रीलिम्स पेपर में आपको गवर्नेंस पे इतना क्वेश्चन नहीं मिलेगा. रादर दे वुड बी फोकसिंग मोर ऑन द पॉलिटी पार्ट, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, और फिर जो भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उसके उससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं. एट द सेम टाइम लॉट ऑफ एम्फेसिस इज गिवन इन यूपीएससी ऑन द करंट पार्ट, जो भी चीजें चल रही हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स आस्क मी दैट सर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज सो बिग, व्हाट टू स्टडी, क्या पूरा पढ़ना है? वन कॉमन मिस्टेक विच स्टूडेंट्स मेक, दे कम टू दिल्ली और फॉर दैट मैटर वो कहीं पढ़ते हैं, दे गो विद अ वेरी स्टैंडर्डाइज अप्रोच जहां वो सब कुछ रटने की कोशिश करते हैं. दे ट्राई टू मग एंटायर इन्फॉर्मेशन, दे ट्राई टू गेट ऑल द फैक्ट्स इन देयर माइंड, पॉइंट बाय पॉइंट, लाइन बाय लाइन वो याद करने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड दैट इज वेयर द प्रॉब्लम इज. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट यूपीएससी एक्सपेक्ट्स यू एट अ वेरी थिंग्स एट वेरी बेसिक लेवल. वो ऐसा नहीं कि आपसे कुछ ऐसा एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि आप वो कट टू कट लाइन बाय लाइन आर्टिकल पूछेंगे, ऐसा नहीं होगा. एंड हियर आल्सो लेट्स से वी हैव मोर देन 440 आर्टिकल्स इन इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, तो उसमें से भी दे माइट बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक, मे बी देयर आर 50-60 एरियाज और 50-60 आर्टिकल्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट वंस एंड रेस्ट कैन बी entirely skipped विदाउट एनी प्रॉब्लम. तो एक एस्पिरेंट का जो फोकस होना चाहिए वो ये होना चाहिए दैट दे शुड बी इन अ सिचुएशन टू फिल्टर थिंग्स which they feel is important for the constitution, important for the examination, and hence our objective is to filter that part very importantly. And the best way is to, when you read the polity and governance part, always try to complement with the previous year question papers. Now again, a slight caution to students from political science. Many of my students are from political science, many of the students are doing graduation. उनको ऐसा लगता है कि उनको पॉलिटी पता है, and believe me, you might have read in the college education, but that polity is not enough, because यूपीएससी का जो पॉलिटी होगा वो काफी कुछ एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड आएगा. The chances are there that you might be floored by the level of question they ask. Again, question बहुत basic होंगे, but still you might feel uncomfortable or maybe कि आपको ease पे नहीं रहोगे आप. तो इसलिए the best way to ensure is that you read regularly, read the NCERTs properly and complement with the newspapers as well. तो once going ahead, maybe probably जब आपको, because आज जो हम पढ़ेंगे अगले 2-3 वीक्स में, जो हम पॉलिटी एंड इकोनॉमिक्स जो भी कवर करेंगे, इन मेनी एरियाज इन यूपी, बहुत सारे एरियाज जो आपको न्यूज़पेपर में मिलते हैं, यू विल फील वेरी कंफर्टेबल. एंड वन मोर थिंग आई एम प्लानिंग टू स्टार्ट इज दैट आई लिस्ट द वीकली करंट इश्यूज, स्पेशली इन पॉलिटी एंड इकोनॉमी. जो एनसीईआरटी के साथ साथ चल रहा है उस पर मैं अलग से एक लेक्चर रख सकता हूँ, सो दैट the students, the new joinees or even the students who are preparing, they can understand that ये न्यूज में चल रहा है and they are completely at page is what is happening in the newspapers. Yesterday Neeraj must have taken the class. अभी next week में आपके और भी faculties हैं, coming weeks में they'll be introduced. So you in the coming 1 and 2 months, once till the time the NCERT is over, believe me, you will feel very comfortable with the entire syllabus. So let's understand, this is the prelim syllabus. Then there's a main syllabus. So main syllabus is very detailed: governance, constitution, polity, social justice and international relations. तो ये जो पूरा syllabus अगर आप देखोगे, so it covers governance. I have removed the international relations part, even IR अभी हटा दिया है इसमें से. So governance, constitution, polity and social justice. So ये पूरा syllabus में आपके है. Now this is the syllabus that you are supposed to follow. In prelims, अगर आपको prelims की भी तैयारी करनी है, तो I would expect all the students to follow this syllabus for even Indian polity. तो इससे आप, for example, they'll ask about Indian constitution, they'll ask about the history of that, evolution, the state, the constitutional schemes, the various structure of the government, the organs of the government, the constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies, the development process associated with the entire process. तो ये सारा हम लोग समझेंगे. So I would expect all the students in the next coming days, you should be very thorough with the syllabus part. People who have started recently or people who are probably giving examination 2 years or 1 year down the line, this is a blessing in disguise. ये opportunity है, इसको आपको avail करना है and make sure that you be thorough with the syllabus. तो syllabus को आप ढंग से पढ़िएगा. Student might feel that you know the syllabus, but my understanding about the syllabus is that even if you read the syllabus and understood the syllabus, you should practically the syllabus should be on your tips. अगर न्यूज़पेपर में कोई मैं न्यूज़पेपर ओपन करता हूँ and if I see an article and if I ask you that this article is in the newspaper or not, or this article is in the syllabus or not, you should be in a situation to answer without any second thought. Okay, ये syllabus का part है, ये syllabus का part नहीं है. Okay, so that is why syllabus understanding is very important. Okay, so let's start with the lecture. The first lecture is democracy. Why, what, and why of democracy. So, what exactly is democracy? Again, democracy is, in a very basic manner, you can define democracy as a two part as demo and crazy. So, demo is people, and crazy is rule. So, rule by people. So, that is what democracy says. So, historically, the idea of democracy, which is of course not mentioned in the NCERTs, the idea of democracy is very old. It has always been there. And Indian roots also historically, if you see the ancient history, there were samiti system where opinion were taken and decisions were taken. Similarly, if I talk about the modern democracy, जो हम लोग use करते हैं, जो हम लोग follow करते हैं, that democracy has broadly evolved. You can say from ideas like French Revolution, okay, French Revolution. Then we have Britain में evolution हुआ. The concept of right came in Britain. Okay, 1215. 1215, Magna Carta was written. This Magna Carta was the first time in the history of the humankind the concept of rights came. Okay, so because a democracy is a right, right? So पहली बार right a concept आया 1215 in England, when Magna Carta was mentioned. Now Magna Carta इसमें हुआ क्या था basically, that there was King John, and there were other people who were mainly landlords, you can say. Okay, so King had a lot of absolute power, and landlords, were under King, operating under King. So, but King became very unpopular due to his various decisions. And landlords, now you are king because you are ensuring that landlords are getting the revenue from at their level, and they're giving to King. And there is a kind of a very harmonious relationship between King and the landlord. But ऐसा नहीं हुआ because of some unpopular decisions taken by King, and there was a kind of political instability that was there. And in order to resolve that, for the first time, King wrote in 1215, 1215 में Magna Carta. This is almost 800 years ago. And here the concept of first that landlord should have certain rights. अभी King क्या कर सकता था? King can so King has absolute power. So King can throw you out of the land that you own. King can do anything with you. Now here the landlords became very discontent and unsatisfied. In order to resolve the issue, for the first time, rights a concept आया, and these landlords were given certain rights against forceful, or you can say uh, unwarranted exit from the land which they are basically owning. So that is how the concept of पहली बार में rights a concept आया. Later on that idea evolved. French Revolution is a revolution of idea, a Renaissance movement, the idea revolution, liberty, justice, liberty का concept आया, freedom का concept आया. Similarly, American Revolution was another area where America, again 1776, 70 का जो period था, तो American Revolution. So we had series of international events in different part of the world which kind of led the idea of modern democracy that we have. So what exactly is democracy, and why do we need democracy at first place? शायद हमें आपको इस बात का पता नहीं चलता है, and we take things for very granted. If you have to understand that what kind of right we have as a citizen, अभी COVID crisis चल रहा है, and right now what has happened, that you are not supposed to move from your home. You practically concept of liberty is lacking here. So we have Disaster Management Act 2005, which has been imposed, which gives absolute power to the state and the government. ठीक है, तो यहाँ absolute power है, आपका movement restrict हो गया, आप कुछ कर नहीं सकते हो. You are sitting at your home from past, let's say 35 days. You cannot go outside to purchase something. आप कहीं जाओगे तो पुलिस आपको रोक लेती है. They might they might put a fire against you. And so suddenly you feel like अरे ये क्या है? But yes, it is in the broader interest society, and you feel कि इसमें मेरा भी नुकसान है. Maybe if I'll go outside, I might get caught with this disease of COVID-19. But imagine a situation when ऐसा ये क्राइसिस ना हो, एपिडेमिक ना हो, और आप फिर भी अगर आप बाहर जाते हो and you you're hounded by the government or government rules or government maybe decisions. जहां आप कुछ करना चाहते हो, गवर्नमेंट को अपोज करना चाहते हो, क्वेश्चन करना चाहते हो, वो कुछ भी सब अलाउड नहीं होगा. यू कैन नॉट क्वेश्चन द लीडर, you cannot question the police, you cannot question the administration, you cannot seek any grievance redressal आपका नहीं होता है. So what about the countries like Yemen and Syria and Iraq, which are so called are going through a lot of turbulent period? What about people living in China? What about people living in maybe countries like West Asia, और ये मैं Middle East की बात करता हूँ. What about those? What about the rights in those countries? And rights again within the society, there are women and there are men. What about rights of those people? तो अगर हम ये देखने की कोशिश करते हैं that suddenly in the same society or places where we're living, we see disparity. In India, you do not feel such kind of limitation because you feel democracy is there. You can question it. Yes, our democracy is not the best. We are not the most developed state, and we have our own flaws and problems. But democracy means rule by people, wherein the rulers, people who are ruling, are elected by the people, and there is a process of elections which ensures that. So at basic level, democracy is about ensuring that people are able to elect their government, and they go and vote. And here there is a universal adult franchise. एक universal adult franchise का मतलब ये है that above age of 18 everybody in India has the right to vote, and everybody has equal power. कोई rich या poor उसमें कोई distinction नहीं है. Everybody has equal power to decide who should be the people will rule. Basically democracy में तो rule by people, but ये ground पर possible नहीं हो पाता है. And the reason why it is not possible on ground is that it's like अभी घर में आप 5 लोग रहते हो, देयर आर 10 पीपल इन द हाउस एंड यू हैव टू टेक अ डिसीजन. तो सभी 10 लोग बैठेंगे, दे विल डिसाइड, मे बी वॉइस वोट होगा या फिर मे बी व्हाटएवर डिस्कशन होगा, एंड इवेंचुअली यू कम टू अ डिसीजन. डू यू थिंक दैट इज प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल इन कंट्री लाइक इंडिया, जहां सारे लोग एक मैदान में खड़े होंगे एंड दे विल टेक डिसीजन फॉर द कंट्री? दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. सो वी व्हाट डू वी डू दैट वी चूज आवर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव. हम अपने लोकल लेवल पे, वार्ड लेवल पे या विलेज लेवल पे, या फिर एट कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी लेवल एट द स्टेट, और मे बी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी लेवल एट द नेशनल लेवल, इसको हम लोग पार्लियामेंट कहते हैं. उनके हम मेंबर्स चूज करते हैं फ्रॉम द एरिया, फ्रॉम द डिस्ट्रिक्ट, फ्रॉम द कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी और फ्रॉम द लेजिस्लेटिव एरियाज के लिए हम लोग चूज करते हैं, एंड दोज पीपल रिप्रेजेंट अस. Now since the people whom we have elected, they know us very well, and when they know us very well, automatically they understand the problems of people in that area or constituency, and they can represent us at the maybe larger parliament or legislative assembly, जहाँ इसको हम लोग टेम्पल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी बोलते हैं. सो इंडियन पार्लियामेंट, और maybe there are 30 states, 28 states, and maybe 2-3 more UTs where जहाँ पे assemblies है. So there it is a temple of democracy. People can go there by getting them selected in the respective constituencies, and they represent us basically. अब वो कितना है, मे बी 30 लाख पे एक लोग चूज हो रहे हैं या फिर 1 करोड़ लोग पे एक लोग चूज हो रहे हैं, that's something we cannot change. But yes, definitely in a democracy we choose people who will rule the country, and that is a temporary phase. वो just जिस phase में वो rule करेंगे, उसको एक temporary period में rule करेंगे, and they are able to meet whatever we want. हमारी country की democracy के through वो जो elected लोग होंगे, they will decide what kind of things that we need for a society, what kind of society India has, what kind of problems we have, what are the expectations of the people. So that is what the ideally democracy looks at. So we elect rulers, and the rulers, लेकिन क्या election का मतलब democracy है? Can we say that all the elections will lead to democracy? Not necessarily, because in many countries there's no democracy. If I say about army rulers in Myanmar, or dictators in maybe in Chile, or the kings of Saudi Arabia, तो ये क्या है? ये democrats नहीं है. They are not bothered about what are the aspirations of people. There is a zero accountability. यहाँ question of accountability नहीं है. जो हम decide कर रहे हैं वो आपको follow करना पड़ेगा. And I do not know, there is a gap between the the aspirations and what the government is doing at. ये democracy नहीं है. Democracy वहाँ होता है, there is a linkage between what people want and what government is doing at a ground level. Okay. So are you saying elections means democracy? Well, not necessarily, because बहुत जगह elections होते हैं. If I take about example of China, और many a times, अभी म्यांमार की बात कर रहे थे, तो म्यांमार में भी इलेक्शन स्टार्ट हो गए हैं. But can we say it's a perfect democracy? We cannot say. And why we cannot say? Because शायद वहां की जो democratic bodies हैं, उनके पास इतना power नहीं है. The democratic bodies does not have power to meet the aspirations of people on ground. democratic bodies do not represent the people itself. Democratic bodies, even if they represent people, they might not have a power, because उसके ऊपर शायद एक military dictatorship है which will decide कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. So we cannot say that elections will mean democracy. Elections is one of the means of a democracy. Okay. So how do we know country is a democrat or not? And that is where we need to understand that the people who are choosing the government in a country, what kind of rights they have. Okay, so in a democracy, what happens? The final decision makers are decision making. The decision making people who get elected will be decided by the people of the country. So that is the first thing. But can we say it is true in all the countries? So NCERT में case study दे रखा है पाकिस्तान का. Now Pakistan a case study, and that case study is quite later, 1999 से. But I have been following Pakistan as a student of economics and polity and of course international relations. पाकिस्तान में पहली बार 1952 में जो उनके लियाकत अली खान जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे, ही वाज assassinated. Can you believe that? वहां पे assassination पहले से स्टार्ट हो गया था. So he got assassinated and military took over. Okay, the same military is in India, and that India में जो military है वो civilian government के control में है, but their military operate in a different manner. Because जब वहां पे एक chaos आया, confusion आया, there was a lack of degree of consistency of democracy, because उनके leaders जल्दी जल्दी मरना start हो गए, the leaders who were ruling the country, and military found a way forward where they intervened in between. Military ने intervene किया, and what exactly they did? They ensured that the continuity in the country is maintained. So military का control 1950s से होना start हो गया, and then many leaders, first Ayub Khan came. Okay, and when these people got weak, जब ये लोग weak होना start हुए, what exactly they did? They brought the religious sentiment use किए, Islam को use किया, and they tried to issue the use the issue of Kashmir, so that that is how military becomes stronger. Because when you say कि war like situation है या problem है, या जो बगल में जो neighboring country है, वहां पर those people hate us, and they are powerful, they are strong. So we also need to spruce up. We also need to pull our socks up, और हमें उनसे fight करना पड़ेगा, and or maybe you should be ready for the fight. So military dictatorship automatically they got power. बाद में we had Yahya Khan. Okay, and ये लोगों ने they set the base for Islamic State. Then what happened? 1970 late 70s में, then eventually Ziaul Haq came. Okay, so Ziaul Haq was a person who propagated, and he set the base for modern Pakistan, Islamic State, Islam, or maybe the basis of ruling the country should be Sharia law Islam. Now, whether it is wrong or not, wrong or right, हम उसके debate नहीं जा रहे हैं, but it goes against the principle of democracy. That is what I want to mention. And of course, in 90s, General Pervez Musharraf followed the same thing जो पुराने dictators ने जो follow किया है. He led a military coup in 1999. He overthrew the government, and he became the chief executive of the country. It's like a private a company चल रही है, and you are head of the company. Okay. Then later on, he changed his designation to president in 2002, and उन्होंने constitution amendments किए. He gave himself 5-year extension. The media of those areas, human rights organizations, democracy, उनको कुछ उन्होंने कहा कि ये सारा तो कुछ भी नहीं है, मतलब they practically had no right. They practically would not question. They cannot take the final decisions. ठीक है, जो लोग भी हैं वो लोग decisions नहीं ले सकते हैं. The power to take final decision rests with the army officials and with General Musharraf, and none of them were elected. क्योंकि उसके बाद क्या हुआ, जनरल मुशर्रफ ने एक और काम किया. He brought elections also, but he said that elections will happen, but ultimately we will take a decision. वो जो elected body होगी, they will not have the absolute power. Let's take an example of India. In India, if I say about India in particular, so India was very fortunate to have nationalist leaders. And we are not talking about one nationalist leader. There were multiple nationalist leaders. We had a whole team of leaders. Jawaharlal Nehru was there, Sardar Patel was there, Maulana Azad was there, Rajendra Prasad was there, B.R. Ambedkar was there, Shyam Prasad Mukherjee was there, and we had list of people who came from various walks of life with differing political ideologies. और वो सारे लोग का, लेकिन वो लोग कुछ भी हों, but they knew that they wanted to create a modern democratic nation where every individual in the country should have freedom, should have rights, should have the spirit of a democracy, जहां लोग decide करें कौन rule करेगा कौन नहीं करेगा. So this is an example of Pakistan, and eventually this there is a dictatorship होना normal था वहाँ पे. They formally have an elected parliament and government, but real power is those with the not elected. Even today, अगर आज बात करते हैं, in Pakistan there are multiple power centers. There is one elected government, then there's a military, then there's the inter service intelligence. फिर उनका एक जिहादी ग्रुप है, religious group है, because being a Islamic state or country driven by religion, automatically these forces become very strong. So वहां पर अभी यहाँ पर तो कोई बाबा कुछ कर रहे हैं तो पुलिस अरेस्ट कर लेती है. But can you imagine something like that in that country? No, the leaders are so strong that they're practically, I'm talking about uh, the religious leaders are so strong, and because government के खिलाफ भी कुछ करने से 4 बार सोचती है. Okay, so this cannot be said as people's rule. It is a people's rule in disguise. सिर्फ एक तरह से sham है, एक pretense है. So first is the first principle of democracy that people should be elected. The ruler should be elected by the people. So basically आप क्या कर रहे हो? You are giving your power. Democracy का मतलब है rule by people, but that is not possible. So you give your power to the elected people, whom you elect, and they represent you in the parliament. So it is a represented democracy. Yes, Aravind, you had some question. Okay, so this is about Pakistan. Going ahead, free and fair electoral competition. अब यहाँ पे election होना बहुत जरूरी है. So in India, the first election happened in 1952, and the first election commissioner, the chief election commissioner was Sukumar Sen. Okay, and he, for the first time, he made democracy possible in India. जो पहला elections हुआ, and it was conducted over a period of 6 months. 6 महीने election चला, because it was such a massive exercise across India had to be done, and so much. अभी आज election commission के पास इतना strong knowledge है, experience है, they have precedents already in place, and they are using technology, they are using surveillance mechanism. Of course, अब आज के election में भी काफी कुछ रहता है, but of course we can say to a larger degree that there are free and fair elections. I will give an example of Delhi elections. Abhi recently Delhi elections हुए, so it was fought between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. Okay, so it was fought between. Now here the outcome of this election. Now BJP is a party ruling the entire country, and they have practically ruling in all the major states. So the resources, and they have a legacy of maybe almost many decades. 1980 में तो बनी है, but the legacy is of Jansangh, that is 1950. So they have a legacy of almost 70-75 years. And this Aam Aadmi Party, which came just in 2013, is ruling the Delhi from past so many years, and they won the election by 62-80, sorry 70. So 62 seats unko mile. And BJP used its entire armory, machinery, everything they used. Of course, it was under the, but they could reach out to people. They could not, Aam Aadmi Party could not match the the kind of resources the BJP had, the kind of leaders. BJP brought every leader around from the country, and they're practically moving around in streets. Okay, so asking people to vote them. So that is, and here what happened, the outcome is completely surprising, and the outcome is the one-sided victory of Aam Aadmi Party. So this shows that election in India is so free, and of course there is a fair electoral competition. So this is something which takes about India. But can we say something about China? China is a country where there is only one party, Communist Party of China. Here also, if you want to go into politics, आपको CPC join करना होगा. Elections regularly held every 5 years for National People's Congress. So there are 3,000 members. जैसे हमारा parliament है, वैसे ही there are elections for 3,000 members who go into the National People's Congress in China. But remember, there is only one party, so you have to fight, to be the member within the usi party में multiple members will fight, and eventually there are members elected by the army as well here. Before contesting elections, candidate needs to approval of the Chinese Communist Party. Only those who are members of the Chinese Communist Party or 8 smaller parties allied to it can contest election, and government is always formed by Communist Party. So only leader will change. At the max क्या होगा? सिर्फ leader change होगा, और कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता है. The worst that the best can happen is the leader can change, but nothing else. Which means the leadership की accountability. अभी हमारे यहाँ क्या, एक leader change हुआ, दूसरा political party दूसरा आ जाता है, and suddenly, and the political party in power, they know that at the max they can stay in countries just for probably 5 years. ठीक है, तो कहने का मतलब, but in this country इंडिया में कभी आज तक फैमिन नहीं आया. इन द पीरियड ऑफ 1958 to 61, चाइना में एक फैमिन आया था, and this was a famine where 30 million Chinese, as per official estimate, died. Can you believe that? China is a closed country, वहां से कोई information नहीं आती है, and as per the estimates of that 30, यानी 3 crore people died of hunger and starvation. But in India, India was also in a similar state like China, but India में कभी भी hunger starvation से death नहीं हुई है. We never ever we have faced a situation where people have died because of hunger and starvation. They might have been isolated 1 or 2 cases, but we cannot say with certainty that at mass level people have died because of hunger and poverty, or hunger or starvation. Food nahi mil raha hai because the accountability is very high. There is a free press, there is a free media, there is opposition party. अभी देखो ना कांग्रेस क्या कर रही है. आपको लगता होगा अरे इतना अच्छा काम बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट कर रही है. लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर सपोर्टर्स ऑफ बीजेपी एंड दे आर सेइंग दैट गवर्नमेंट इतना अच्छा काम कर रही है. But Congress is the opposition party and they have to do that. They will question government. They will laud government also. They will question government, and that is their work. उनका नाम ही opposition है. The very idea of you being opposition that you will question it, because had it been some other party, they would have been doing the same thing. Same is true about different states, जहाँ पे different parties हैं. The government might be doing the best they can, but still there could be gaps. So the opposition party, the media, should have the power to question, should have ability to highlight the lacunas and gap, and that is a very strong check and balance mechanism. ओके तो वो एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है डेमोक्रेसी के अंदर, जहां पर जो कंट्री में डेमोक्रेसी नहीं होती है वहां प्रैक्टिकली नहीं रहता है. द थर्ड पर्सन इज वन पर्सन वन वोट वन वैल्यू. एवरी पर्सन हैज इक्वल पावर. यू हैव वन वोट एंड वन वैल्यू. And why? Because we have countries in like Saudi Arabia, women did not have right to vote till 2015. Can you believe that? अगर हम लोग in England, women got voting rights as late as 1930s. 1930s में women को rights मिला voting का. Can you believe that? And here in modern world, Saudi Arabia, अभी voting right मिला है. Estonia is a country which was formed by breakaway of USSR. तो वहाँ कुछ रशियन जो है माइनॉरिटी है, रशियन जो एथनिक ग्रुप है, अभी वहां कुछ रहते हैं, and these people do not have a right to vote. Can you believe that? In Fiji, there are Indian Fiji and there are people who are native Fiji, जो वहां के रहने वाले हैं, उनका वोटिंग का पावर अलग अलग है, which means the my vote is one and your vote is two maybe. So this is not a practical democracy. A democracy is where the idea of democracy is equality, the idea of democracy is transparency, the idea of democracy is freedom, the idea of democracy is liberty. ये सब जो एलिमेंट्स है वो डेमोक्रेसी में इनग्रेन्ड होता है. डेमोक्रेसी में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होता है कंसेंसस. द डिसीजंस हैव बीन ईदर टेकन बाय मेजॉरिटी और बाय कंसेंसस, बिकॉज द मास या द मेजॉरिटी व्यू जो है प्रिवेल करना चाहिए. ओके सो यू कैन से वन पर्सन वन वोट. द नेक्स्ट इज द रूल ऑफ लॉ एंड राइट, रेस्पेक्ट फॉर राइट्स. रूल ऑफ लॉ, लॉ इज सुप्रीम. ठीक है, सो आर्टिकल 14 ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सेज रूल ऑफ लॉ होना चाहिए. equal right to equality, everybody is equal under the law, और सब लोग लॉ के अंदर इक्वल है, which means nobody will get some preferential treatment. Now can we say that happens on ground effectively is a matter of question. कहीं कहीं होता है, there are people in powerful position, they are able to misuse the law, and that is where it is important that these things should be highlighted. Public should know about it, they will question it. Okay, but largely we can say the rule of law is the binding principle, और rule of law सबसे important principle होता है. Rule of law will bring regularity, rule of law will bring predictability, rule of law will ensure that everybody is equal under the law and the rights of people are respected. For example, Zimbabwe, यहाँ पे कहानी दे रखी है Zimbabwe की. Zimbabwe got independence in 1980 and it has been ruled by Robert Mugabe. It was ruled by Robert Mugabe till 2017. He just died few months ago. So Robert Mugabe was a ruler. So he was the massive leader who was the leader of their the party. So then when he became leader, later on he kind of became dictator because he wanted to rule, and he died in 90s. At the age of 90s he died. Can you believe that? So he ensured the elections were rigged later on, and he used unfair practices. So even though they seem like election, but they were unfair. Government became dictatorial. All the people who feel कि शुरू में people had faith in him, but later on when आप गवर्नमेंट को कुछ, आपके लोग कुछ प्रॉमिस करते हो, आप नहीं दे पाते, गवर्नमेंट विल क्वेश्चन यू, पीपल विल क्वेश्चन यू. जब लोग क्वेश्चन करेंगे, देन यू फील दैट आई माइट बी रिमूव्ड, and you are so cling to power that you don't want to give up. Power corrupts. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. जैसे ही आपका पावर आएगा, पावर छोड़ना नहीं चाहोगे, and hence you will want to, and then you will use some authoritarian system, and a new totalitarian regime will come. So that is a very natural, and it has happened in almost every second country जहाँ पे भी ऐसा देखने को मिला है कि dictators got power. So that is, we can say, so it is, and this kind of system ensures that probably there is a zero or very less accountability. We cannot have. We might like a leader, that is okay. You might like a leader for his or her virtue, that is completely okay. But we should always have a faith in the system. We should always have a faith in the constitutional polity. We should always have a faith in the constitution of India. हमारा जो एलिजियंस होना चाहिए वो लीडर्स के प्रति नहीं होना चाहिए, होना भी चाहिए तो you never know when the leader will change. Cult status, हमने हमेशा cult status दिया है लोगों को, लीडर्स को. Indira Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru got cult status. Indira Gandhi got cult status. She was the leader who brought emergency in India. ये अलग बात थी कि she might have realized later on and emergency हटा दिया उन्होंने. So कहने का मतलब है, let's not make the leaders, don't make leaders their god. भगवान मत बनाइए हमारा. They should, they are leaders, they are good leaders. You question them, you praise them, you give them your approval. At the same time, you should have a ability to question them as well, because that is how a country will have survival across. आप किसी लीडर को अगर का एलिजेंस करते हो, उसके प्रति आपकी लॉयल्टी है, यू लाइक ए लीडर, कंप्लीटली ओके, नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट, बट यू शुड क्वेश्चन बोथ थिंग. You should highlight the good things of the leader, and you can question the leader if there are certain lack or gap. उनको भी क्वेश्चन करने का, so that will a way in which the leader will be brought to ground. वो लीडर को पता होगा कि मुझे जमीन से जुड़ा रहना पड़ेगा. I cannot live like anything or any way I want to. I cannot do anything I want to, because it's a democracy. People are the real. The will of the people जो होना चाहिए, will of the people is sovereign in the country. लोगों का, because country is driven by the concept of popular sovereignty. So ये जो हमारा will है लोगों का, that is the most important thing. So here rule of law, and here you can say many a times government can be unpopular, popular government can be undemocratic. और आज देखो ना, क्या हम कहते हैं हमारे राइट्स का रेस्पेक्ट है. Today we live in an interconnected world, and today suddenly technology has come in, things are changing. So democracy की जो अगर हम बात करते हैं, तो democracy तो है, but at the same time there are still areas or means through which government can have power, government can control it. कल को आप ऑफिसर बन जाते हो, believe me, the day you will become an officer, your attitude will change. यहाँ पर there are more than 30 students in the class, and I can say with 100% certainty that 10 जितने लोग भी ऑफिसर बनेंगे उसमें से 90% people will feel power in their head. They will feel it, and they should, when they become powerful, maybe if 2 years, 3 years down the line, they should always remember you are the servant, you are not the, you will have to serve the people. That is the idea. You should be, clearly be in your mind. If you go with the person that you become a master, ये attitude नहीं होना चाहिए. It is something that we need to change, because ultimately it is the people who should have the real power, not the leaders. Okay, so leaders are leaders because the people follow them. People support their support behind the leaders. So we can also say that there can be popular governments who can be undemocratic, and yes, this is something that can always be debated, but we have questions, we have such examples across the world. Okay, so accordingly, democracy is the form of government where rulers are elected by the people, and when you elect the rulers, you give the power which you have to them. Okay, elections offer a choice, a fair opportunity to the people to change the current rulers. This choice and opportunity is available to all the people on an equal basis. There one person, one vote. Exercise of this choice leads to government limited by basic rules of the constitution, which means the power of the individual, the power of the leaders in power is not absolute. उनका power limited है, and how that power is limited? By giving you rights. जब आपको right मिल जाता है, तो automatically that rights is a right like a bulwark against their power. तो उनके power को कम कर देता है. If you have a right to express your opinion, if you have right to question the government, if you have right to follow your religion, if you have right to do what you want, of course with certain reasonable restrictions, then government, अगर आप within that right काम कर रहे हो, तो government कुछ भी नहीं कर सकती आपके against. Even though there are something you might be saying or doing which government might feel कि उनके against जा रहा है, but that is how it is. Right to have an opinion, right to have opinion जो different हो. अभी यहाँ पर 30 स्टूडेंट्स हो, इन 30 स्टूडेंट्स में 28 स्टूडेंट्स माइट हैव वन व्यू. ओके, देयर आर टू स्टूडेंट्स जिनका व्यू कुछ और है, देयर इज ऑपोजिट व्यू. Now, now it is very simple or very easy, these 28 people to force their view on these two people. But the democracy ensures कि ये जो minority opinion है, जो opposite view है, this should also be respected. You know, ये dissent है, a different opinion है, this should also be respected. Yes, majority view will prevail, that is completely okay. But minority view जो है, उनको भी respect मिलना चाहिए, उनकी बात सुननी चाहिए. Because whatever was minority yesterday, it could become majority tomorrow, and again a new minority will come. So right to have an opinion, right to have a dissent, right to have a different view is completely okay. एक family के अंदर 5 लोग रहते हैं, 4 might feel same way and 1 might different. Yes, whatever decision जो होगा वो जो 4 feel करते हैं वही है, but at the same time 4 will also should have this feeling that the fifth person in our family is having a different opinion. That is completely okay. We will follow what majority view is there, but उसकी बात की भी हम सुन के उसको respect करेंगे. We will not completely bash him or her by saying कि how dare you have a different view and opinion, whether you fall in line or will do something against you. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. That is not what a democracy should be. Democracy is having multiple alternative view and that should be respected across. Okay, so that is what. So recently in global democracy index came, and ये जो index था, it was brought in by EU, economist intelligence unit, economistic newspaper है, and they gave certain mark data numbers. They said these are full democracy. तो US को कहा उन्होंने full democracy, West European nations are full democracy. उसमें भी then they gave data like India is a flawed democracy. उन्होंने कह दिया कि India एक flawed democracy है, India को number कम मिले. Okay, for whatever reason उनको लगता है कुछ gaps हैं Indian system में, especially and I think a lot of role goes to the media में भी यहाँ पे we have seen situation where media have been questioned for if they go against the government, media question किया गया है, and it is true for every political party in power. I'm not specifically telling one government or another government. जब भी मीडिया पावर में रही, मीडिया जब को क्वेश्चन किया है लोगों ने, different leaders during their time have brought in laws to suppress media's power. कई बार ऐसा होता है, the NGO, the civil rights movement, they have been questioned. तो उस केसेस में यहाँ देखने को मिला कि इंडिया को थोड़ा नंबर उन्होंने कम दिया है. बट आई पर्सनली बिलीव दैट इतना खराब नहीं है, थिंग्स आर मच बेटर. बट अगेन कोई भी चीज अगर होती है, इफ देयर सो मच पॉजिटिव्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी, कुछ नेगेटिव्स भी होंगे. सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द आर्गुमेंट्स अगेंस्ट डेमोक्रेसी. पहली बात है, डेमोक्रेसी इज अबाउट चूजिंग द लीडर हु हैव अ लिमिटेड फिक्स्ड टर्म एंड द लीडर्स विल चेंज. या फिर डेमोक्रेसी इज बेस्ड ऑन मेजॉरिटी रूल एंड whoever is ruling, अगर उनके पास मेजॉरिटी नहीं होगा, so they cannot rule. So that might lead to instability. That is the first thing. Second is democracy is about winning, political power, win करना. आप अच्छा बोलते हो, अच्छा सोचते हो, does not mean that you will win election. Somebody will win election, maybe he or she has resources, maybe he or she has a mass appeal, maybe he or she is probably उसके अंदर कुछ winnability factors हैं. Many times this winnability becomes so important because और सब कुछ secondary हो जाता है. So there is a scope for competition, power play, corruption भी कई बार आ जाता है इसकी वजह से. Many people, बट डेमोक्रेसी एक चीज और है. कई बार डेमोक्रेसी अबाउट कंसेंसस, डिसीजन मेकिंग होता है तो कंसेंसस लाना बड़ा जरूरी होता है, या फिर एक मेजोरिटी व्यू होना चाहिए. नाउ मेनी टाइम दैट लीड्स टू अ डिले क्यों? क्योंकि आप you are not able to come to the same page everybody, because democracy is about people and people might have different opinion, और जो लोगों का ओपिनियन अलग होता है तो एक कॉमन डिसीजन पे आना मुश्किल होता है. that is a weakness, that is a strength also, but that is a weakness also. Many a times you need strong decisions. डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट एक्ट 2005 क्या कहता है? बहुत सारे राइट्स गवर्नमेंट को देता है और ऑटोमेटिकली एंड इट गिव्स मोर पावर टू द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास लिमिटेड पावर आ जाती है, सो ऑटोमेटिकली द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट हैज मोर पावर. नाउ इट इज द मेजॉरिटी जो है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की या फिर जो पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप की है, उनकी मेजॉरिटी है कि वो इस पावर को मिसयूज ना करें. दे माइट हैव गॉट, इट्स लाइक यू हैव द एक्स्ट्रा पावर इन योर हैंड, बट यू आर नॉट यूजिंग इट. आप फिर भी नॉर्मल तरीके से जो डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस होता है उसको आप फॉलो करो, because that is what has always been a practice and a precedent. Okay, elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि लीडर्स को पता ही नहीं है लोगों को क्या चाहिए. In fact, people don't themselves do not know what they want. So many times it might lead to bad decisions. You might go 20-30 years down the line, you might question a leader's decision कि 1978 में या 75 में या 1950s में ये decision गलत किए गए थे. You might question the leader, but when the leader took that decision, maybe there was certain situation, maybe information उस वक्त inadequate थी. Information came later on. Yesterday, just few days ago, I was having discussion with one of my friends, and when I was having discussion about what government is doing, कि lockdown कितना effective रहा है and all, and they said, अरे lockdown होने से क्या हुआ? The numbers are still going up. Okay, and he said numbers are still going up. Government should have closed the borders even earlier. वो जनवरी में मालूम हो गया तो क्यों नहीं जनवरी में सब कुछ बंद कर दिया? Why did? Because the COVID crisis that we are facing it actually came from outside. लोग जो बाहर से आए वही लोग लेके आए. और जब वो आया तो I said, see, when that crisis started, government did not know about the scale of the problem. None of the countries knew about the scale of the problem. और कोई भी decision अगर आप लेते हो तो there has to be a factual information base behind that. जब उस वक्त 30 जनवरी को जब इंडिया में पहला केस आया तो इंडिया को पता था कि ये प्रॉब्लम है, बट उस टाइम ये नहीं पता था कि प्रॉब्लम का स्केल इतना बड़ा होगा. इट वेंट ऑलमोस्ट मे बी 1 महीने 1.5 महीने बाद मालूम हुआ कि ये प्रॉब्लम इतना बड़ा है. ओके, व्हेन द कंट्रीज एंड फिर क्या हुआ जब गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि हमको क्लोज करना है, देन डेमोक्रेटिक मूवमेंट स्टार्टेड. नहीं, नोट लॉकडाउन, व्हाट लॉकडाउन, व्हाई यू आर टेकिंग आवर राइट्स. अभी भी यूएसए में देख रहे हो रहे हैं, देयर आर पीपल सेइंग दैट व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन, हमें क्यों रोका जा रहा है. इंडिया में भी लोग हैं सोच रहे होंगे, बट इंडियन पीपल आर वेरी डिफरेंट. इंडियन पीपल आर वेरी रिजिलियंट. ये लोग थोड़ा इजीली एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं. एंड इंडियन पीपल when we saw the devastation happening in the अभी इस वक्त as if now more than 3 million cases have happened. 3 million cases जो है वो हो चुके हैं और इसमें सिर्फ 1 million यूएस में. कैन यू बिलीव दैट? 1/3 of the cases in USA, and USA is the strongest economy in the world, probably one of the best healthcare system in the world, probably maximum resources they have, unmatched है. उनकी जीडीपी का साइज हमसे मे बी 7-8 गुना बड़ा है. The population is almost 1/3, or 1/3 से भी कम 1/4 है. Average resources which is there is almost 10 times. जो इंडिया में जो average resource जो उनके पास है, that is almost 10 times per person. You can see, and वो भी कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे हैं. Suddenly they feel that they are helpless. So आप सोचो कि कितना. तो कहने का मतलब है कई बार डिसीजंस लेते हैं, डिसीजंस अच्छे भी हो सकते हैं, बैड भी हो सकते हैं. डेमोक्रेसी might lead to corruption because इलेक्ट्रल पॉलिटिक्स है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी पावर में आती हैं, दे टेक मनी, दे टेक किकबैक्स एंड दे फील कि सर्वाइवल ऐसी होगा. एंड पीपल जो लीडर्स हैं जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में आते हैं उनको लगता है अरे मुझे सर्वाइवल करना होगी, पार्टी चलानी होगी, तो आई टेक मनी फ्रॉम, आई साइफन द मनी फ्रॉम द सिस्टम बिकॉज और कोई सोर्स तो है नहीं. सो दैट इज अ वेरी गुड गवर्नेंस क्वेश्चन मार्क लग जाता है, लीड्स टू करप्शन. एंड दिस इज ट्रू अबाउट एवरी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. कोई भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ऐसा नहीं कह सकती कि हम ये काम नहीं करते हैं. द डिग्री माइट वेरी, सम पीपल आर मोर करप्ट, सम पीपल माइट बी लेस करप्ट, बट यस वी चूज द लेसर इविल. हम लेस करप्ट को चूज करते हैं या इलेक्ट करते हैं. ठीक है, मेनी टाइम पीपल डू नॉट नो व्हाट इज गुड फॉर देम. सो डेमोक्रेसी के जो आर्गुमेंट्स जो अगेंस्ट हैं वो भी हैं. lot of people question that what if we had a strong leader at the center, और इंडिया में तो डेमोक्रेसी नहीं होती है तो शायद चीजें अच्छी होती. बट क्या होता पता नहीं, वो लीडर डिक्टेटर बन जाते हैं, टोटलिटेरियन रिजीम बन जाता, अथॉरिटेरियन रिजीम बन जाता. सो वी कांट टेक चांसेस. एंड इंडियन पीपल इनहेरेंटली आर डेमोक्रेटिक. डाउनग्राइड वो डेमोक्रेटिक है, दे वांट that their leader should be elected by them. Now coming to the positives of democracy, why democracy? The biggest form is accountability. Who is accountable? Government is accountable to the people. What is the mechanism? Multiple mechanism है. पहली बात तो elections is one thing. The second could be maybe the free media, the press. Okay, अगर free है तो of course there is a degree of freedom. Free media, press is there. Then we have a whole NGOs or non-government organization. There are people, the spirited individual citizens जो हैं, ठीक है, जो क्वेश्चन करते रहते हैं गवर्नमेंट को. ठीक है, यहाँ पे जो है PILs, एक कुछ लोग तो रोज का यही काम है, दे गो एंड क्वेश्चन एवरी गवर्नमेंट डिसीजन. तो PIL करते रहते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, रोज का उनका यही काम है. इवन ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन दे आर गोइंग विद PIL एवरी सेकंड डे. There are spirited individual citizens who want to ensure कि लोग की accountability गवर्नमेंट की हो. At the same time, the general public opinion, आप क्या सोचते हो? Because government is supposed to act in a very free, unbiased and fair manner. गवर्नमेंट का जो अप्रोच होना चाहिए वो बहुत ही ट्रांसपेरेंट होना चाहिए. गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही है, कितना कर रही है, गवर्नमेंट should tell you on a daily basis. So we have a mechanism like Press Information Bureau. We have institutions like Asian News Agency, ANI. एंड एक बहुत बड़ा सिस्टम है जहां पे सब कुछ ओपन रखने की कोशिश होती है, एंड दैट इज हाउ वी ब्रिंग अकाउंटेबिलिटी। एंड बिगेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी इज इलेक्शंस। अगले 5 साल हर 5 साल पे जो होता है। डेमोक्रेसी इंप्रूव द क्वालिटी ऑफ डिसीजन मेकिंग बिकॉज कलेक्टिव डिसीजन मेकिंग होती है, द बेस्ट ओपिनियन या फिर एक कंसेंसस। टाइम लगता है बट द डिसीजंस व्हिच माइट कम might be more effective. Democracy is about finding a meeting ground. So that is how they are able to, handle the conflicts or differences. Democracy is about enhancing the dignity of citizens. Democracy liberty की बात करता है, democracy freedom की बात करता है. There cannot be any freedom without dignity. Dignity के साथ freedom साथ साथ आता है. If you have freedom, it has to be with dignity. Your respect. Liberty without dignity has no meaning. So democracy is about giving liberty, giving dignity, respect, because everybody has equal right. वो कोई गरीब आदमी हो, वो 18 हो, you are a rich person, you could be 18, both of them have equal power. So democracy is the best way. Government might mistake, but they can correct it. People can correct the government by ensuring that they do not come back. So overall, we can say democracy is might have limitations, but it's still the best among all other alternatives. It offers the chance of good decision. Many times decisions can be bad, लेकिन फिर भी आप लीडर को माफ कर देते हो because to err is human. गलती करना तो human tendency होती है. It allows people to live together. It allows people to have different opinion together. इसी इंडिया में एक कांग्रेसी है, दूसरा बीजेपी का बंदा है, तीसरा किसी और पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का बंदा है, तीनों साथ साथ रह रहे हैं. They might have a different political opinion, but they live together. एक घर के अंदर होता है. I know there are families in India. मेरे फैमिली में तो नहीं है, बट आई नो फैमिलीज विद इन इंडिया जहां पे तीन पार्टी, दो तीन लोग अलग अलग पार्टी को वोट देते हैं. ओके, सो इवन इट फेल्स टू डू समथिंग अर्ली, इट अलाउज अ वे टू करेक्टिंग द मिस्टेक्स, एंड दैट इज व्हाई डेमोक्रेसी इज कंसिडर्ड एज द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. विद ऑल इट्स लिमिटेशन, डेमोक्रेसी इज स्टिल द बेस्ट अमंग ऑल द अल्टरनेटिव. बिकॉज आप कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि क्यों ना हमारे इंडिया में अगर बेनोवलेंट डिक्टेटरशिप होता, डिक्टेटर हु इज बेनोवलेंट, सबके इंटरेस्ट बारे में सोचता, बट कैसे ढूंढे कौन होगा बेनोवलेंट? पहली बात तो कहीं ऐसा नहीं वो बेनोवलेंट जो है अपने आप को सुप्रीम बनाने के लिए वो अथॉरिटेरियन बन जाए कल को. So we can't take a chance, right? And the concept of benevolent is very subjective. Somebody who's benevolent for you might not be benevolent to me. So let's have a system where people should decide who should be in the power, who should not be. और अगर पावर में नहीं है तो हम उनको बाहर कर देंगे, या फिर अगर अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं तो हम कंटिन्यू करेंगे. So in 1970s, 1976 in Bengal, for the first time, Communist Party of India, Marxist CPIM came in power, and they continued in power till 2011. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? More than 30 years of power. Similarly, if I talk about Odisha, Naveen Patnaik, he's been ruling. I think this is the third or fourth time he's the chief minister of the state, the same state. Okay, and it is completely, people still trust them. I know some of my Odia friend, when I speak to them, he say among all, he's the best alternative we have. He is the best person. He thinks about the state. He has its own limitation, but at least it is better than the other political parties. So that is it. So this is democracy. आप अच्छा करोगे तो आप रहोगे, नहीं करोगे तो चले जाओगे. Okay. So democracy, that is how the idea of democracy should be there. Now coming to democracy, democracy के बहुत सारे फॉर्म हो सकते हैं. The concept of theoretical democracy is that people should be involved in making decisions. But what do we do? That is a direct democracy. एक छोटा फैमिली है, 10-20 लोग हैं, 100 लोग हैं, उनको डिसीजन लेना है, सब लोग साथ बैठे डिसाइड कर लिया. बट व्हेन वी हैव अ 130 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन, कैन वी डिसाइड व्हाट इज गुड फॉर द कंट्री? ओके, एंड हेंस वी नीड बॉडी ऑफ इलेक्टेड पीपल. एंड मेनी टाइम्स पीपल इन जनरल जो होते हैं उनके पास भी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होती है. ओके, सो इट इज बेटर दैट वी इलेक्ट पीपल बेस्ड ऑन whom we feel is good, and they represent us in the parliament and they decide. ठीक है, तो ये डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम हुआ. अगेन इसमें दो तरह के सिस्टम होते हैं. वन इज द प्रेसिडेंशियल डेमोक्रेसी, अदर इज कॉल्ड पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी. नाउ प्रेसिडेंशियल डेमोक्रेसी का मतलब ये है, now India is a representative democracy where we represent people, we elect people who represent us. फिर वो लोग क्या करते हैं, they go to the parliament. अब पार्लियामेंट में जाते हैं, बट अगेन वी कैन हैव टू सिस्टम. एक हो सकता है पार्लियामेंट्री. पार्लियामेंट्री इज अ सिस्टम दैट वी फॉलो. ब्रिटेन सिस्टम होता है वेयर पीपल इन द पार्लियामेंट, इसमें जो रूलिंग पार्टी होती है, हु हैज द मेजॉरिटी, उनका जो हेड होता है, रूलिंग पार्टी हेड, okay, becomes the PM or CM at state level, and these people are also from the same parliament and they run the country. But remember here the parliament जो system है, they will ensure check and balance. इनका check and balance ensure करते हैं. ये institutions के बारे में हम पढ़ेंगे चैप्टर 4 में तो वहां ज्यादा अच्छे समझेंगे। सेकंड इज वी हैव अ प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम, प्रेसिडेंट चूज कर देते हैं, एंड प्रेसिडेंट इज वन पर्सन हु हैज ऑल द अथॉरिटी। ओके, naturally we have a other bodies also, law making body है, judiciary है, वो भी वहां चलता है पैरली। बट पार्लियामेंट्री सिस्टम में आप पार्लियामेंट के मेंबर्स चूज करते हो, एंड द पीएम या सीएम जो होगा उस पार्लियामेंट सिस्टम से आएगा। बट हियर यू वोट द प्रेसिडेंट इटसेल्फ। हम लोग पीएम मोदी या सीएम केजरीवाल को इलेक्ट नहीं करते हैं, हम लोगों को इलेक्ट करते हैं, एंड वो लोग फिर डिसाइड करते हैं कि कौन सीएम या पीएम बनना चाहिए। ठीक है, तो प्रेजेंट सिस्टम में अनलाइक वी वोट टू द प्रेसिडेंट इटसेल्फ, प्रॉब्लम स्ट्रेंथ प्रेजेंट सिस्टम का ये होता है दैट वन पर्सन बिकम्स टू पावरफुल एंड हेंस मे बी देयर इज मोर स्टेबिलिटी। बट पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी में क्या होता है कि जो पावर होता है वो थोड़ा डिसेंट्रलाइज फॉर्म में होता है, इट इज नॉट एज सेंट्रलाइज एज इन प्रेसिडेंशियल सिस्टम। ओके, सो यहाँ पे आपको एक टेबल दे रखा है, डायरेक्ट डेमोक्रेसी, प्रेसिडेंशियल, पार्लियामेंट्री, यू कैन रीड इट। So direct democracy, you have a Switzerland as example. Presidential, we have USA and France. Parliament democracy, you have UK, Germany, Spain, Italy. So these are the countries. Okay. So different information is there. You can read it. And I think ये फिर से आगे आएगा. Then we'll take it further. I'm not discussing this in detail because this will come again in the coming lectures. Okay. So that completes chapter number 1. Coming to chapter number 2. The second part, the chapter is about the constitution. And when we talk about constitution, we need to understand why do we need a constitution at first place. Why do we need a system of rules? अभी हम लोग इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बारे में बात करेंगे, बट लेट्स गो as per the NCERT, and they have discussed about the constitution of South Africa. Now Nelson Mandela was a leader who became the first president of South Africa after the new constitution was formed in 1990s. But he was a person who, वहां पर क्या था, एक apartheid rule था, black against white. And he was, he went against that rule because he felt that कि जो apartheid rule है, where the discrimination is between among people based on their color, तो वो एक that goes against the very idea of freedom or democracy. He was put to bar and he stayed in Robben Island वहाँ का जो है prison था for almost 28 years, and it was one of the most dreaded prison. आप सोचो 28 साल एक आदमी prison में है, 28 साल, it's almost like maybe almost 3 decades you are there. So he went against apartheid. Apartheid is where racial discrimination unique to South Africa था. Now South Africa is a similar kind of country like India where Britishers came, but in South Africa क्या हुआ, Britishers came and became a part of that country. और उन्होंने वहाँ पे अपनी they took land, they purchased land, and one reason why South Africa, because South Africa का जो climate था, that climate was very good, and they felt that this climate is suited for us. So that is one reason, that is why they were able to do that. And South Africa had huge resources and minerals as well. Location भी उसका काफी अच्छा था. So that is how they controlled South Africa. And when they controlled South Africa, they came in 17th and 18th century as a traders, as a ruler, as a traders. हमारे यहाँ British East India Company में के through आए थे. There also traders came. They ruled the country, and they were white, and the majority population जो 3/4 था वो black था. But these people controlled machinery, police, military, everything, the entire country, and that is how they ensured practice of apartheid. You can see natives, Indians, and coloreds. If you enter these premises at night, you will be listed as missing. Armed guards shoot on sight. Savage dogs devour on the corpse. You have been warned. Can you believe that? एक जगह बोर्ड पे लिखा हुआ कि अंदर जाओगे तुमको गोली मार देंगे. This is something that used to happen, and this is not, we're talking about maybe 17th, 15th, or 16th century. We're talking about maybe 1980s. Okay, so white rulers treated all non-white as inferiors. They did not have voting rights. They were oppressed. They were forbidden. They had to move only if they have a permit. जैसे अभी हम लोग के यहाँ क्या हो रहा है, कोविड क्राइसिस आ रखा है, राइट? तो अभी सबको बाहर मूव करना होगा तो हमारा परमिट होना चाहिए. क्या परमिट? आरोग्य सेतु. ओके, तो आरोग्य सेतु होना चाहिए, ये परमिट हो जाएगा. उसमें आप देखोगे आरोग्य सेतु ऐप में इट इज ई पास. So tomorrow, if you have to move, you have to use आरोग्य सेतु because government knows that this COVID crisis will continue and जल्दी खत्म नहीं होने वाला है. And medicine अगर आएगा भी तो there are 1.3 billion population, कहाँ मेडिसिन देंगे, वैक्सीन कितने लोगों को देंगे? क्या हो पाएगा वैक्सीन? क्या 2 महीने में, 10 दिन में हो पाएगा? नहीं होगा. It will take a lot of time to happen. So even though if the medicine come, even the vaccination come, you have to be mentally ready कि अगले 4-5 महीने न्यू नॉर्मल जो है वो ओल्ड नॉर्मल नहीं आने वाला है, न्यू नॉर्मल आने वाला है. तो क्या हो गया यहाँ पे, यू हैव टू हैव मूव अ परमिट, एंड दिस इज एक्सट्रीम मेजर। गवर्नमेंट, अच्छा यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट थोड़ा बेनोवलेंट तरीके से कर रही है, गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट सेइंग कि देखो भी, गवर्नमेंट इज जस्ट सेइंग दैट सी इफ यू आर अनवेल यू सिट एट होम, इफ यू आर वेल give a proof that you are well. Okay, so train, buses, taxis, hotels, everything was separate for black and whites. अब यहाँ देखो क्या लिखा है, under section 37 of Durban Beach bylaws, this bathing area is reserved for the sole use of members of white race group. यानी ये बीच सिर्फ white लोग यूज कर सकते हैं. There was a concept of segregation. You segregate the population, and this is not only true about South Africa. 1960s से पहले the same was true in USA also. USA के अंदर within the same country there were different doors through which blacks and white could enter. Within a restaurant there was space जहाँ पे सिर्फ whites बैठेंगे, there are blacks बैठेंगे. The in entry to college admissions, the blacks were not allowed. Even today the blacks feel कि they are very they were suppressed. आज भी वो feeling blacks के अंदर है. The आज जो COVID crisis में death हो रहा है, the maximum number of people who are dying are among black, because their blacks still live in ghettos, मतलब high population density में रहते हैं. They are very they still feel कि भी हमें oppress किया गया है. They still feel in that. The number of people who get arrested for crime, that is highest among the black people. They are the people who are they don't take care of themselves. तो कहने का मतलब ये नहीं है अमेरिकन सिस्टम में उनको रिजर्वेशन दिया जाता है, they get a lot of benefit also, but still there is a historical reason, and that kind of baggage those people are, even the current generation वो carry करता है. So I think they need to come out of that. But how do you change that mindset? तो ये segregation सिर्फ यहीं पे नहीं था, it was there across the world. The concept of racial discrimination has always been there. Maybe today ये चीजें कम हो गई, but आज भी ये देखने को मिलता है. So struggle against apartheid started, protest smart, African National Congress was created. They struggled, and it had people from across. So anti-apartheid movement went on, for decades, and white ने फिर change किया, and new constitution. Then eventually a time came where अच्छा South Africa को across world में भी they were denounced. उनको मतलब they had they were put against restrictive rights. उनके जो freedom, उनके जो support था international community में वो बिल्कुल available नहीं था. So they felt that they cannot continue like this, and that is where they changed their policies, and a new constitution was created, and Nelson Mandela became the first president, and new national fabric of South Africa was unfurled, and this apartheid government came to an end, paving the way for multiracial government. ठीक है, but उनके आपस में वो लोग बैठे, they try to find way out, and they create a new constitution, and one of the finest constitution they created in the world, which ensured that उस constitution में ये भी mention था that this black apartheid system had continued, and it created a lot of problems for people. So let's not forget that part. However, the objective of the current leadership or government of people would be to create a new world, a new country, wherein that exploitation will be put behind, and let's work for the benefit of everybody. So that is how the entire thing was taken. So the new constitution was formed. Okay. So next question comes in, that why it is important to have a constitution to run a nation. Why do we need a constitution? Why do we need a rule book? I'm sure आपके सबके घर में एक family का rule होता है. You have a rule to eat, you have a rule to sit, you have a rule, have a dinner time, your lunch time, or whatever. You follow a basic certain rule. अब उतना forceful नहीं होता है, but parents teach you to follow that rule. And I'm sure in the coming generation आप भी अपने जो coming generation उनको भी आप posteriors को भी आप pass on करोगे. There has to be reason, because that is how things will, एक family bonding भी होगा उसमें. Maybe a place will be defined जहाँ सारा काम होगा. Maybe there will be predictable order. Similarly, when you live in a society, you have to follow society rules. When you live in a city, आपको city के कुछ rules होते हैं जो follow करना होता है. Similarly, same should be true about such a big country. So we need a constitution, and that constitution should ensure how country should run. So constitution क्या है? Constitution is a living, it's a fundamental law of the land. एक rule book है, and this rule book will ensure that the country is run as per the rules. Country का जो running होना चाहिए वो arbitrary नहीं होना चाहिए. It should not be driven by personal individual preferences or choices. It has to be predictable. Okay. So the constitution need was always felt. Okay. Then constitution does many things. It generates a degree of trust and coordination because people are different living together. It specifies how the government will be constituted. Third, it lays down the limit on the powers of the government and tells us what is the rights of citizens. It express the aspirations of people rather than creating a good society. अब देखो ना, अगर मुझे कहना है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या होता है, तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज ब्रॉडली टू पार्ट. द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज द पीपल and the second is the government. Now what constitution gives you, that they give rights to the people, but at the same time the constitution is made by what people want. Okay, so when you read the first page of Indian constitution, we the people of India, which means the constitution is derived from the people themselves. So the very source of the constitution, this constitution looks like supreme and sovereign, and they will decide how the country should run. But believe me, the idea of this constitution has also evolved from the people's aspirations or the people's hope, the fundamental values of society, maybe the struggle the society or people have achieved or have faced, and hence they come to a document about rule book about how country should be governed. So एक तो लोग होते हैं where you give rights, जैसे Indian Constitution में Part 3 of Indian Constitution give you fundamental rights. Similarly, there is a government, and this government, you know, cannot be absolute. Here also government should be run based on certain rules, and ये जो rules होंगे, जो government के rules होंगे, they will also be limited. They cannot be absolute. प्राइम मिनिस्टर, चीफ मिनिस्टर कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते हैं. अगर करेंगे तो उसका एक लिमिट है, एंड दैट इज हाउ द कंसेप्ट, एंड दैट इज दिस रिकंसाइल्स द राइट्स. जैसे आप उनको राइट देते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट का पावर लिमिट हो जाता है. इमेजिन अ सिचुएशन, यू आर गोइंग ऑन अ रोड एंड पुलिस या पुलिस ने आपने पकड़ लिया और कहा कि चलो जेल में. क्यों चलो? क्योंकि ऐसे मन कर रहा है तुम्हारे को जेल में जाने का. इट कैनॉट बी आर्बिट्री, राइट? ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. unless until you have violated a law, you have violated a rule of law, you आपकी सिचुएशन है, penal एक्शन लगाया जा सकता है, तब किया जाएगा. कई बार वो रूल वायलेट भी होता है, ऐसा नहीं कि रूल वायलेट नहीं होता है. कई बार जो है पावर इज मिसयूज्ड, एंड दैट इज वेयर हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रिंसिपल्स में उस पावर को हम लिमिट करते हैं. देयर आर मैकेनिज्म वेयर पीपल कैन गो. और इस पूरे सिस्टम को हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? वी यूज अ टर्म कॉल्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनलिज्म. So this is constitutionalism. Okay, so people rule the rights, and that is how the country should run. So the idea of constitutionalism ensures that the power of the government is not limited, unlimited. The power of the government is limited. The power of government has to be limited as per the requirements of the society, as per the requirements of the country. Okay. So as we discussed, how government will be constituted. सारा रूल होता है, गवर्नमेंट के पास कितने बॉडीज होंगे, किनके पास कितना पावर होगा, व्हाट आर द लिमिट्स ऑफ द पावर, what are the rights of citizens, and what are the aspirations of people. How do we create a good society? A society, आप guess, what is the definition of good society? What are the values of the constitution we want? हम क्या चाहते हैं इस constitution से? Okay, so that is what we should understand. Path, history जाते हैं. History में क्या हुआ? For the first time, Nehru report was made in 1920s. फिर कराची सेशन में कांग्रेस ने कहा कि हमें एक इंडिया का इंडिपेंडेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाना चाहिए, एंड दे आल्सो क्रिएटेड मेड रूल्स, came with the pointers that the modern constitution of India should be based on that. Nehru report में they came and they drafted the constitution of India for the first time. They challenged the British that देखो हमने अपना constitution बनाने का, हमने things that we have started. Later on, the British also brought a lot of institutions, elections where democratic system came in, and for the first time in a real form responsible government आई. हम लोग अभी जो वर्ड यूज करते हैं वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल गवर्नमेंट. रिस्पॉन्सिबल मीन्स दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द पीपल, दे आर अकाउंटेबल टू द पीपल, दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द हाउस टू विच दे आर इलेक्टेड. ओके, तो पहली बार प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट आई, एंड दे वर एबल टू रूल, एंड दिस वाज ऑल अंडर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट. जब इंडिया में हमने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया था तो ऑलमोस्ट 70% ऑफ इंडियाज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन 70% of India's constitution is actually taken from government of India, which means ये जो legacy है ये ब्रिटिश ने हमें दिया है. Okay, so we already have the legacy which is coming from the British. But remember, we also got enamored by what happened in different parts of the world. कहाँ पे क्या हुआ? French Revolution, the revolution of idea, the practice of parliamentary democracy, जो Westminster system है, जिसको हम इंग्लैंड का सिस्टम कहते हैं. बिल ऑफ राइट, जो हमारा फंडामेंटल राइट्स है, जो हमको मिलता है, राइट टू इक्वालिटी, राइट टू फ्रीडम, राइट टू मूवमेंट, राइट टू practice a religion, right to practice right against any kind of exploitation. वो सारा कहाँ से आया है? फंडामेंटल राइट से आया है. The socialist revolution, the idea of justice, social justice, economic justice, political justice, वो कहाँ से आया है? Because of the socialist revolution in China, Russia. So we all can say that हमारा जो constitution है वो तो एक उसकी historical legacy है, where we brought whatever was already in existence, उसको हमने continuity ensure करने के लिए जो provisions जो already चल रहे थे वो लेके आए. But we took inspiration and we inculcated or brought new things from other parts of the world also, other constitution of the world, जो best practices थे, and we also had an advantage कि हमें पता था कि ये work कर रहा है वहाँ पे. Yes, we tailor made those things as per the requirements of India. फिर बाद में जब India got independence, around that time we created Constituent Assembly, and India, it took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to make India's constitution. And on 26 November 1949, this Constituent Assembly, जिसका ऑब्जेक्टिव था कि इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बनाना है, उन्होंने जो है उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को अडॉप्ट किया. बट इट केम इनटू इफेक्ट ऑन 26 जनवरी 1950, बिकॉज इसी दिन जो है 1930 में हमने पूर्ण स्वराज का जो है प्रोक्लेमेशन दिया था ऑन द बैंक ऑफ रिवर रवि. तो दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई हमने 26 जनवरी 1950 को हमने चूज किया टू कमेमोरेट दैट डे, एंड दैट इज हाउ. सो जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन था उसके जो इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट थे दैट केम इनटू इम्प्लीमेंटेशन 26 नवंबर एज वेल, बट पूरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्टिवनेस got implemented on 26 January 1950, and that is how we celebrate 26 January as Republic Day. तो ये जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, this constitution took efforts, and a lot of deliberations happened, debates happened, और ऐसा नहीं था, there were more than 100 sittings in under which constitution को बनाने में help मिली. But a question comes in that today we live in 2020, right? और 2020 में 1950 constitution applicable होगा? Almost 70 years, because society is changing, people are changing, aspirations of people are changing. So don't you think that constitution should also change? Don't you think that जो चल रहा है उसको बदलना चाहिए? Don't you think that maybe this constitution does not have the maybe provisions which can address what are the temporary needs of society? तो एक चीज देखने को मिली कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो बनाया गया, it was brought with a lot of effort, consensus, and the people who were the members of Constituent Assembly, they were elected from the various provinces, the various states, and they largely represented the people of India. Okay, so पहला जो acceptance of constitution का वहीं से आया, because आपने जिसको power दिया वही constitution बना रहा है. ठीक है. दूसरा क्या था, as I mentioned, there were Constituent Assembly debates, इसको आप पढ़ लीजिएगा, lot of effort happened, and that is how constitution came into principle. And we brought values of fraternity, liberty, equality, democracy, secular nation, socialism, sovereignty, ये सारे हमने values को inculcate किया. Now remember, these values were inculcated not because these values were already there in society. It was felt कि अब इसको हमें codify करने की जरूरत है. So we codified these values as per the requirements of Indian Constitution and what kind of country you want to create. Voice is breaking. My voice is clear, guys? My voice is clear? Okay, clear, right? Some students were facing problem. Okay, so ये जो हमारे values हैं, what are values? What do you mean by values? Values का मतलब है standards of desirability. What do you want in society? These are standards of desirability that we want in society or in the country. A country where there should be liberty, there should be freedom, where rules are taken, a decision is taken based on rules, where decision is taken based on democratic, approach, where people are free to decide what kind of religion you want to choose, how you want to live, where the country or government is something, the government or the country becomes so big that you want to respect the nation, you have a patriotic feeling towards the country, and you want that everything, whatever decision that we take, should be in the interest of the country. There should be feeling of brotherhood. There should be an approach where the people who are weak and vulnerable, they should be taken care of. तो ये जो values थे, वो हमें constitution में mention किए, but these values were already there in society. And even if some values were not there, we intended to ensure that these values become the part of the society in future. Because in future we want to create a modern liberal society based on scientific temper, where people should decide how the country should run. तो इस तरह से हमने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हमने कुछ नई फिलॉसफीज को ऐड किया. इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम, सोशल जस्टिस, स्पेशली द वीकर सेक्शंस हैं, रेस्पेक्ट फॉर माइनॉरिटी, बिकॉज डेमोक्रेसी इज अबाउट मेजॉरिटी राइट. ओके, मेजॉरिटी व्यू. तो मेजॉरिटी व्यू जब जहां भी आता है वहां प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, बिकॉज देयर आर माइनॉरिटी एज वेल. तो अब क्या करेंगे? सो हमने कहा हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में वी विल क्रिएट प्रोविजन वेयर वी विल अंडरस्टैंड द माइनॉरिटी राइट्स एंड डाइवर्सिटी एज वेल, और उनको हम स्पेसिफिक को राइट देंगे. सो देयर आर रिलीजियस एंड लिंग्विस्टिक राइट्स. सो हम रिलीजियस और लिंग्विस्टिक राइट्स को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, उनको अलग से हम लोग प्रोविजन दे रखे हैं सो दैट दे कैन प्रैक्टिस देम. ओके, यूनिवर्सल फ्रेंचाइज, फेडरलिज्म, हमने सेंटर इन स्टेट क्रिएट किया है. फेडरलिज्म इज अ चैप्टर हम लोग 10th जो एनसीईआरटी उसमें देखेंगे. ठीक है, नेशनल आइडेंटिटी, सेकुलरिज्म. सेकुलरिज्म मींस कि रिलीजन शुड नॉट बी द बेसिस फॉर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, या रिलीजन एक इंडिविजुअल स्पेस होना चाहिए, पर्सनल स्पेस होना चाहिए. So that is the values of the constitution, and these are the philosophy of Indian constitution. Now the preamble of Indian constitution. Okay, देखते हैं क्या है preamble. So what do you mean by preamble? What exactly is preamble? Preamble of the Indian constitution. Preamble का मतलब होता है introduction. So the first page that you see on the is preamble. We the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India as into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic to secure all its citizens justice, which is social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and promote among them all fraternity, assuring dignity of individual and the unity and dignity of the nation. Okay, we the people of India, which means the source of the constitution is what? People of India. And we want to create what kind of society? We want to create a society which is sovereign. So what do you mean by sovereign? Sovereign means people have a right to make decisions within the country, internal as well as external, and nobody can dictate. A country has absolute and unbridled power over its affairs. आप कौन हो? आप इंडिया हो. We are a sovereign country. यूएस कुछ कहता है, कह रहा है mind your own business. Who are you? It's like आपके घर का कोई मैटर है, बाहर कोई बोलेगा तो आप क्या बोलोगे? You better mind your own business. So this is our house. This हमारा घर का रायता है, हम खुद साफ करेंगे. Who are you to intervene? So that is the concept of sovereignty. Sovereignty means absolute and unbridled power over its affairs. दूसरा socialist होना चाहिए. What do you mean by socialist? Socialist, which means that we want to create a society which is just, जहां पे रिसोर्सेज, वेल्थ, इनकम में डिस्पैरिटी या इनइक्वालिटी नहीं होनी चाहिए, कम होनी चाहिए. ओके. थर्ड इज सेकुलर. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय सेकुलर? सेकुलर मींस पीपल आर फ्री टू follow any religion. There is no official religion. So we have theocratic state like Pakistan. We have theocratic state like Saudi Arabia. We have state like जहाँ पे अलग अलग religion को प्रिंसिपल रिलीजन बनाया जाता है, एंड सेकेंडरी अदर रिलीजन तो सेकेंडरी, उनको सेकेंडरी स्टेटस दिया जाता है. So that is not the intention in India. We want that every people should have they follow any religion, they are free to decide, free to profess, free to practice, and government will treat everybody equal. ठीक है, किसी के साथ कोई exploitation नहीं होगा. Next is democratic. Democratic means we already discussed. Democracy मतलब people will have political rights, they will elect the rulers, they will ensure accountability, it will be run based on basic rules. ठीक है. And republic. What do you mean by republic? जो हमारा head of the state है वो elected होगा. Unlike in many countries like Britain, वहाँ पे hereditary चला आ रहा है, वहाँ traditional status है, king जो रहेगा. Same is true in many other countries like Spain and other nations. हमारा nation वैसा नहीं है. हमारे nation में जो head of the state होगा वो elected होगा. So that is the concept of, you can say, republic. Justice. Now idea of justice came from Russian Revolution. Justice was social, economic, and political. So we have to ensure that there is justice. People should not be discriminated on the basis of economic status, religion, caste, gender. Government should ensure welfare for everybody, especially the weaker section. Okay. तो हमारे यहाँ सोशल जस्टिस, पॉलिटिकल जस्टिस, गवर्नमेंट वेलफेयर स्कीम्स लेती है, गवर्नमेंट हेल्प कर रही है. अभी जैसे कोविड क्राइसिस चल रहा है, गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही है? पीपल हु आर नीडी उनको गवर्नमेंट हेल्प करेगी, फूड देगी, एक्स्ट्रा राशन देगी, मे बी सम पैसा देगी, उनके अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर करेगी. ओके. लिबर्टी of thought, expression, belief. Liberty of what? As I mentioned, liberty is the hallmark of any constitution or any democracy. Liberty का मतलब ये है कि कोई unreasonable restriction नहीं होना चाहिए. You should have a freedom. You should do what you want. But however, remember, आपका liberty किसी और के liberty में infringe नहीं करना चाहिए. Liberty का भी एक limit defined है. Liberty मतलब नहीं कि कुछ भी करोगे. You have a freedom to express what you want and you want to follow, but at the same time, it should not go inside the liberty of other people. So liberty is about thought. आपका thought, belief system, your expression, what you say, your belief system, your faith, your religion, यहाँ पे आपको freedom होनी चाहिए. Equality. There should be focus on equality, status and opportunity. Caste based discrimination हो या economic discrimination हो, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. Fraternity. We should ensure that people should have एक feeling of brotherhood होना चाहिए. ठीक है. Everybody should treat fellow citizen as as equal. They should behave. Fraternity एक feeling of brotherhood होना चाहिए, and that is how we will bring unity and integrity of the nation. And everybody should be equal. All are equal before the law. Traditional social inequalities have to be ended. The government should ensure opportunity for all. Now these are ideals. Remember, जो हमने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया है ये आइडियल है, यानी ये बेस्ट सिनेरियो हम चाहते हैं. कैन वी से विद सर्टेनिटी कि हमने अटेन कर लिया है? प्रॉब्ली नॉट. बट कैन वी से दैट ये सारे आइडिया फेल हो गए? अगेन एज आई सेड, वी हैव अचीव्ड मेनी थिंग्स. क्या इंडिया एक डेमोक्रेसी है जहां पे लार्जली चीजें फॉलो होती हैं? ऑफ कोर्स इट इज बीइंग फॉलोड. कैन वी से दैट इन डेमोक्रेसी एवरीबॉडी इज इक्वल? टू एन एक्सटेंट, बट देयर आर प्रॉब्लम्स एज वेल. कैन वी से दैट सोशल जस्टिस इज समथिंग इंश्योर्ड? वेल, सोशल जस्टिस अगर इंश्योर होता तो हम डिस्कस नहीं करते. दैट इज समथिंग दैट वी वांट टू अचीव, एंड दैट एफर्ट शुड गो ऑन टिल द टाइम इट इज बीइंग अचीव्ड. हमारे यूपीएससी के सिलेबस में सोशल जस्टिस एक पूरा एरिया है, एक पूरा सिलेबस का पार्ट है, उसमें से मेंस के बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. एंड टुमारो यू, moment you become leader, administrator, you will have to work for the social justice. आपको welfare करना होगा, ठीक है. So these are the the constitutional aspect. In our Constituent Assembly 26th November 1949 hereby adopt, enact and give ourselves to the Constitution. इसमें एक amendment भी हुआ था, that was amendment in 1976, जहाँ पे दो word add हुए थे, socialist, secular and integrity. ये तीन word हुए थे, integrity, socialist and secular. 3 words were added. मैं छोटा सा आपको इससे एक थोड़ा सा किस्सा सुनाता हूँ, एंड बिकॉज ये सामने आ गई बात, एंड दैट इज हाउ आई विल एंड द लेक्चर टुडे. व्हेन आई फेस माय यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू, एंड one of the question that was asked with me from me was that so who made the constitution? Now, as a student of polity, it did not occur to me that I should say कि people of India made the constitution. शायद ये आंसर बहुत सिंपल लगता. I said, sir, Indian constitution was framed by a body called Constituent Assembly, which deliberated over a period of more than 2 years, and that is how they said no. Then again, the same panel member, he asked the same question. He said, okay, Pramod, listen again. Who made the Constitution of India? Again, I said, अरे, the same question is being asked again. क्या मैंने गलत जवाब दिया है? And again, I said, sir, sir, pardon, but I'm not able to understand. Then he said, okay, tell me, have you read the Constitution of India? I said, yes, sir, I do have an understanding of Constitution. I said, okay, so what is the first thing that you read in the Constitution? The moment you open the Constitution, what is the first page? I said, the Preamble. And what is written in the Preamble? I said, we the people of India. And the moment I said we the people, he said, yes, exactly, the people of India have made the Constitution. And I said, okay, I never thought that you will ask this question. So you can imagine, the people of India are somewhere responsible. शायद आपको ये feel नहीं आता होगा that you are actually involved in the making of the constitution, because this constitution is 70 years old. But of course, our ancestors were involved. Not everybody, but whosoever got elected to the process of Constituent Assembly, they were involved. Largely, वहाँ पे 300 people were there. So we can say with certainty that this process of making a constitution, and almost 70 years have passed. India's independence have passed 73 years, and believe me, today we are much stable. Things are much better. Of course, there are problems in the country. Of course, there are challenges. Of course, there are issues. There are problems: unemployment, poverty, equality. There are still problems of social justice, and that it needs to be addressed immediately. We can't put a timeline on that. They should be addressed as soon as possible. But I can largely say that Indian Constitution had served us. In fact, कहीं अगर कोई कमी रह गई तो we have failed the Constitution of India, not the Constitution otherwise. So as a citizen, we should understand it. As a citizen, we should value the Constitution. As a citizen, we should follow the values, and we should ensure that these values are being followed by everybody. ये अलग बात है कि शायद never ever the level of consciousness is there towards polity, towards system, towards democracy. Okay, so that completes today's lecture, and there are certain questions, you can read them, and I would expect you to read chapter 1 and 2 and read, underline the important lines and read them again and again. Write good answers, and and you can. Some students have submitted also the answer. I'll be answering them. I got few answers today. Okay, so that is all, guys, for today's lecture, and thank you very much for your time and patience. Any questions you have? Anybody?